Hello everybody and welcome to a new video. For today's video I thought I could give you guys some wintry book recommendations, and I have two piles of books next to me. One of them is specifically a Christmas theme because, well, a big part of winter is Christmas, let's be honest. And the other pile is just wintry books in general, so that you also have some books to read throughout January and February. I have 6 books that are very Christmassy that I would like to recommend. Let's start off with the one that I actually don't have a physical copy of, which is called The Nightmare Before Christmas by Sarah Raj. And this book follows the Prince of Christmas and the Prince of Halloween. So in this world, all of the holidays have like queens and kings and princes and princesses, and basically like all of the holidays are personified. And we follow, as I mentioned, the Prince of Christmas and the Prince of Halloween, and they kind of hate each other, but they end up not hating each other that much. So I really like this one just purely for the vibes, because it's set during the Christmas time and it's just super fun and banter is great and everything like that. Next up we have Make You Mine This Christmas by Lizzie Huxley Jones. It's been a while since I read this one, but I am pretty sure this is about a woman whose name I forgot, and she starts to like fake date a guy named Christopher, and she goes home with him for Christmas because something happened and her original plans got cancelled or something. And then she meets Christopher's sister and likes her really much. So that's kind of the vibes, and it's so fun because there are a lot of wintry activities or Christmassy activities, and it is just so cute and really fun. The next books I think are going to have to be in like a double package because it makes more sense to read them together, I would say. Well, I mean kind of. So I would recommend the 4th volume of Heartstopper because this one is set during the winter time and also especially during Christmas at a scene. So if you like to reread some random books or something, I think that would be fun. But if you don't want to read a book in the middle of the series, you could also read This Winter by Alice Oseman. This pretty much only makes sense if you read or if you have read the Heartstopper series, but maybe if you read the Heartstopper series but not any of Alice Oseman's other books, you could pick up This Winter, and that basically just shows a bigger picture of their Christmas that is kind of shown in the graphic novel series, but just more detailed, I would say. And I really love this book. I reread this almost every Christmas just because I think it's really fun and fast and easy to read, and it's just really wholesome. Now, the only classic that I have on this entire list is A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. I feel like it just makes sense to recommend this book. I also have a really cool edition, so I like to show it off. But this is kind of the original Christmas story. Basically what this story is about, if you don't know for some reason, because I feel like everybody knows this, but maybe there are some people who don't know. This is about a man named Scrooge. He hates Christmas with his entire life and everybody around him is really excited for Christmas, but he isn't. And then he gets visited by these kind of like ghosts from the past, present, and future. And they show him what happened, what happens, and what will happen if he doesn't do something different, kind of. So, well, the past is the past, so that stays the same. But how he can still influence things in the future if he decides to do something good, kind of. I think the like essence of the story is really cool, and there are also a lot of fun movies to watch that are very similar to this, so if you don't want to read this book, just watch the movies, they're also pretty good. So just a little classic recommendation just to clear up the palette of all of my queer Christmas books. And the last one I would like to recommend is Make This Season Bright by Ashley Harry Blake. I actually haven't finished this one yet, but I still want to recommend this one because so far it has been really good. So basically this is kind of a second chance romance, and I can't talk anymore. And it follows Charlotte and Brighton, and they wanted to get married 5 years ago, but then one of them stood the other up at the altar, so Brighton didn't show up to their wedding. And now obviously that isn't great, so they broke up basically. And 5 years later they find themselves at the same place during the Christmas time because both of their best friends are actually sisters, and they decided to come home with them for Christmas. So they meet again, and yeah, it's so crazy. There are a lot of fun Christmas activities, like they bake cookies and go skiing and that kind of stuff. It's really fun and really cute. It's just very cozy and cute vibes. And that was actually the last one for my Christmas pile. Now we can move on to my winter pile because if you've read all of these now, which you will obviously do, you know, read all of these books, and then you need something to read during the next few months when it's still cold outside and maybe it will snow. So I would like to give you some wintry book recommendations. This is kind of a wild mix, to be honest, but I still want to give it to you. So the first one is a book that I haven't read, but I feel like no matter if I like it or not, it has a great reputation on social media. Everybody loves this book, and it just sounds so unbelievably wintry themed. So yeah, the book is Bear Town by Fredrik Backman, and this is about a small town in Sweden, and they live in like pretty much isolation from like the rest of the world, you could say. And it's like kind of a like more literary fiction kind of vibe, I think, but I heard so much great things about this, so I still want to recommend it even though I haven't read it yet. But yeah, if you are interested, I think this one might be really cool. Also, on the literary fiction note, I would recommend you The Wishing Game by Meg Schaefer. I don't have a physical copy of that, but this book is so great. This follows a woman whose name I forgot, but she kind of gets this chance to partake in a game of sorts by an author, and she wants to try and win because then she could get a lot of money, and she wants to adopt a child that she knows who is not in great hands at the moment. And it is just such a wholesome story with just the coolest vibe. It's also got kind of a mystery vibe to it because they're like playing this weird game that they all don't like really understand, and it's just super cool. Now I've got two fantasy books that I would like to recommend. First of all, Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo. This one is really cool. I read this one pretty recently. But this one follows a girl named Alina, and she discovers that she has some pretty rare powers, and so she becomes really like important to the kingdom that she lives in, and the like magic in this book is like really heavy. So if you like magic in books, this one is really cool because it's like pretty much centered around the magic. Like I feel like in a lot of fantasy books the magic only appears like later or not as much as in this one, for example. So yeah, that is basically the vibe. This is also a series, so if you really enjoyed you can continue it. I think that is also, yeah, fun for the winter time. And the other fantasy is Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. I've talked about this book so many times, so you might already know what this is about, but if you don't. This book follows a girl named Evangeline, and she finds herself taking a little traveling excursion to the magnificent north. So that's why it feels wintry, because it's cold in the north, you know. And she made a deal with a fate, which are kind of like godlike people in this world, and now she has to fulfill that fate's deal. And it is just such a good series, also a trilogy. And yeah, I just love it so much, so just read it because it's fantastic. I would like to recommend Solitaire by Alice Oseman. This takes place during January, so that is perfect. And this is about the sister from Heartstopper, Tori. But you don't have to read Heartstopper to read this book. It's a standalone, but it's definitely cool to know the characters, so just saying that. This story follows Tori, and she kind of tries to figure something out, something weird that she found, and she also makes a new friend, and it's just a really cool story, definitely a bit heavier, like emotionally speaking, so if you don't like that, don't read this. But I still think it's a great book, and I really love the main character of this. And now last but certainly not least, I think I recommend this like all the time, but that is Nobody in Particular by Sophie Gonzalez. And this is kind of like the TV show Young Royals, but in Sapphic and as a book. And what I mean by that, for the people who don't know Young Royals, this follows Dani and Rose is a princess, but Dani is just like a regular girl, and they meet at a really cool, like, prestigious boarding school, and they start having maybe a like secret relationship, you could say. And it is just such a cute story. It takes place throughout like the late fall time, wintry time, I feel like. So I think that kind of matches the vibe. And it also has like a lot of scandals and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I really love this book, so if you're interested, maybe give it a read. It's really good. These were all of the books that I would recommend you for the Christmas/winter time, so let me know if you have read any of these, if you will read any of these, or if you have any other book recommendations that fall into the like Christmas/winter category. Maybe I will expand my TBR. And yeah, I really hope you enjoyed watching. If you did, maybe like, comment, or subscribe. I would really appreciate it, and I will hopefully see you in the next one. Bye!